So thank you, Rita, for this interview. I know that you are kind of tired, but we are very excited that you're here. The first thing that a lot of people is very exciting to know is your role in the Nations. So you have a very big role there. So how is that?
No, I don't work for United Nations,
No.
but years ago I did do a piece of work as a consultant for UNICEF in Nairobi,
Yeah.
and trying to help them to set up their children in especially difficult circumstances, that whole unit. So I did work there, but my work is more with the national government, with the Indian government, and with the civil society in India.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's for
Yes.
it. And well, I'm more interested about the butterflies and all the model and how the children's participation, because it's a real participation. It's not just like filling a quiz or filling some options that the adults want to know. It's
Yes.
just taking the real participation of children. So this is so exciting. So I would like to know how you understand the real participation, because I just saying real participation, but
Yeah. Sandra, when it comes to children's participation, something that has always has been of a deep concern for me is that there are many organizations who speak about children's participation, but actually it isn't. It's very tokenistic,
yeah.
or at some point it is adult driven, where the adults are kind of driving the whole thing, and it's not truly what children are wanting to do or say, for that matter. So having said that, in butterflies, for us, all of us in butterflies are people who subscribe to the value of democratic participation. So the organization itself is run on democratic principles. So working with children, it becomes a continuum for us, that so when we are working with children, then obviously their voices are very important for us. And the core value of the organization is children and children's participation. Now, how do we do it?
Yeah,
Yes.
and why is this participation? Because it's like many people say, like, we have children participation because when we ask them, do you really want this, or what do you prefer, this or this? And this is children participation. But I understand that it's so deeper than that.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of people in the world, not only in Mexico, I heard from other parts, are saying that children participation is only just try to choose or say something, and others will have to decide. That you say very interesting about the responsibility and decisions and giving options. So there's a lot of confusion there. So how this works?
Because children are an agency by themselves, and having said that, it means that children have a right. They have a right to participate in decisions that involve them. And it's not enough asking them what do you want or what you don't want, but to be able to engage them fruitfully in a dialogue and a discussion. To give you an example, because if one is talking about education, and we tell the kids that you must go to school every day, you should study, you should do your homework, and you should come to the study classes. Yes. Okay.
Sure.
Would you like to do this? Yes. No, I don't want to do that. But that's not what a participation would be. For us, what we have done is to see that the children themselves have formed a cooperative of education. So it's a cooperative education where groups of children in the same grade. Now, if the kids are, say, in the 5th grade, then the children of the 5th grade have formed a group to help each other in their studies. So maybe I'm good in English, but you're weak in English. I teach you. But you're good in mathematics, and I'm poor in mathematics. You will teach me mathematics. So
We have an interchange.
we have an interchange in that. At the same time, I mean, as a group, we keep an eye on each other to know if we are going to school or not going to school. Are we absenting ourselves? If we are absenting ourselves, then the children would ask, why didn't you not come to school today? What happened? If there is a problem, the kids help to solve that problem. Suppose the problem is that the mother says that I'm not able to get, I need water in the morning, and this, my daughter has to go or my son has to go and fetch water from the public tanker, and therefore he becomes late or she becomes late and can't go to school. Okay, a few of us will come much earlier, help you to fill that buckets of water, but let's go to school.
Okay.
That's not, shouldn't be an issue. If the teachers are not coming to school very often or they're not teaching, how can we collectively speak about it to the headmaster or headmistress and say that, look, this particular teacher has absented herself in this last month at least 5 times. And our lessons, we are not able to study. So is there some way of getting another teacher in our class? Or maybe the teacher has a problem, maybe she's sick or somebody is sick.
Yeah.
So in that, the children are taking a role in trying to see that the school is also responsible in that the teachers do not absent themselves. The children are also taking a role to see that their friends among themselves, the peers, come to school every day. If there is a problem at home, is there a way of supporting that child? So in that, what they are doing is that they're discussing the issue and problems among themselves and then coming up with a solution.
And this is very interesting because they are part of the solution and they are proposing.
Yes.
It's not just taking the option that adults are thinking about. So I'm this, and I have this proposal.
Yes.
And you're talking about community.
Yeah.
And do we care each other as a community?
Yes, because in the participation, the children. Suppose I, as an adult, has an idea, a brilliant idea. Say I want to do something. Say I'm deciding that maybe we should be having our classes more in the mornings rather than in the evenings, or whatever. Some new ideas I have brilliant. But then I need to discuss it with the children and tell the kids, I say, look, I have this idea. What do you think about it? The kids can say that, I'm sorry, we don't like that idea.
No. So I will not be like that. You don't like my brilliant idea.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We don't think that's good enough for us. No. We don't agree with it. So the adult has to be able to accept it. Accept that when a group of children or a child says that, I'm sorry, I don't agree with you.
Yes.
They have the right to say that. It's not that because I'm an adult I know everything and I should do it. No, I don't agree with it. Then you start negotiating and you start dialoguing with the children, and then you come up with a solution where the children own it. Then they say, yes, this we will do, because it is something that we have decided.
Yeah. So you have to do.
Yeah.
And that leads me and asking you, so how do you break this? Because I understand it's not transforming the child so the child wants to participate, it's transforming the adult to accept the participation. So what are these blocks, walls, or I don't know how to, because there are biggest and there are strong, and I understand like in adults we have a lot of fears that children will take us or children
will take over.
Yeah.
Yes, which is I would say a fear most adults have, and I won't say that we didn't have it. Of course, one had all these fears. Most of my colleagues did have those fears, And because most of the, like some of my colleagues would say, suppose the children come up with a decision which is really not good,
Yeah.
you know, then what do we do? You know, well, if they have come up with a decision which is not good, we need to discuss that with them, and tell them that, see, look, your decision that you have taken, it's yours, but you know, this is what will happen if you do that. But if you still want to do it, go ahead.
Okay.
You know, but then you learn from that mistake. For the adult, I would say it is a change of one's mindset.
Yeah.
You know, our attitudes, our beliefs, that we as an adult should be the ones who should be deciding.
Yeah.
We should only be telling the kids what they should do. And if the children are telling us something, we don't listen, but we just hear,
Yes.
you know, but not
So,
listen to it.
Yeah, like black noise.
Yeah, just hear them, but not listen to them, you know. So it's not easy, but once an adult gets to know that,
Yeah.
honestly, if you do listen to children, give them the space for a dialogue, for a discussion, things become much more easier for you
Yes.
in your work. To give you an example, if you tell kids you should not eat junk food, because if you eat junk food, this is what's going to happen to you, because you're eating all the junk food, you can get diabetes. For a kid, what does it matter to me? I mean, diabetes, that is too long.
Yeah,
You know, I like, you know.
That will happen when I have like 25 years or 35 or 40 or I don't know, or maybe never.
Yeah, so I shouldn't be eating junk food. And when you say those things, the kids are not going to be accepting you in that sense.
Sure.
But on the other hand, you have a group of kids, like in our health cooperative, and we tell them that, you know, just go around and look at how the junk food is being prepared.
Okay, so go to the roots.
Go to
no,
the
go
roots.
to
See,
the
yeah.
consequences. Go
Don't
to
listen
the
to
roots.
us.
Yeah,
No,
go there.
you do your own, you know, research. You go there and see how that gentleman or that woman is making that junk food for you, and see how they're preparing it, and see what you're gonna eat with that. And once you eat that, what happens to your body? So you decide. You know, would you like to be eating that on a daily basis, or would you really like to eat some really nutritious food? You know, so how do you it's a trade-off. You
Yeah.
can decide what to do. Now when you say that to a kid, then the kid goes around and he looks and says, yeah, I mean, you know, why am I eating this nonsense? You know, I shouldn't be eating this, I should be eating that. But yes, once a week I can have a junk food.
Yeah, because
you know.
you can have that.
And sometimes the kids say, why once a week? Maybe twice a week I'll have a junk food, but the remaining days I don't eat junk food. So I
Yeah.
shouldn't become addicted to junk food. At the same time, I'm not denying myself of the junk food, because it's a temptation. You would want to eat it, so you will eat it, but it should not be an addiction.
Yeah.
Now, once the kids get to know that, they practice it. So there is a behavioral change then.
Okay, because there's a belief in change.
Yes. So then you would find, like for example, in that video that I showed you all, the kid says that we're not eating junk food now as much as we used to eat. And the money that they save from eating that junk food, they can actually go and have perhaps a far more nutritious meal if they wanted. You know?
Or maybe save for.
Or save the money in their kazana,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And I want to have this clear. Which are the limits in which they all has to be responsible?
Yeah.
What are the limits in which you don't have to lead? Even you say all these things, and if you saw or realize that there are some dangers, how can you distinguish this line that looks like?
It is. The children all must be educated that along with rights, you have a responsibility. It's not enough to demand,
Yeah.
this is my right. Democratic value doesn't say that. It means you have to be responsible. So, if you keep complaining that the teacher doesn't come on time to teach, or is not there long enough to teach you. Fair enough. But do you come on time yourself? Do you complete the lessons that was given to you? Did you do your homework or not? So you're also equally responsible. It's not a one-way street. So that sense of responsibility is very important. So when as a group you're taking a decision, the decision should be such that it will be fair and for everybody, not only for a few of you. So you can't take a decision which will be unfair for the younger kids, but fair for you because you're an older boy. No. To give an illustration, when we started the health cooperative, we said there will be a membership fee. The kids said there will be a membership fee.
Yeah.
So the older boy said 20 rupees per month. So younger kids said, no, we can't pay you 20.
Maybe I can 2 rupees.
20, no, 20. They said no. Then they negotiated. And then we had to tell them that's not a fair deal.
Yeah.
So the kids then negotiated and finally decided on 5 rupees, which was fine with both the parties. So that's where the adult's role comes in.
Yeah.
You as a significant adult should be able to explain to kids that being democratic doesn't mean that a few control the rest. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, so-
Democratic participation means everybody has a right.
Yeah.
It's not just a few who is very vocal, who is very loud, who's charismatic, who's a leader. No. It is something that everybody has to do it.
And it's taking everybody in account, knowing that everybody has a voice.
Yes. And adults, they have a role to play in this. It's not that children's participation means, okay, they do everything, they're in charge, we don't have to. No,
Yeah.
of course not. You as an adult, you have immense knowledge and experience which you need to translate it to the kids. So that you have to do.
And translate the consequence, because I can imagine some people saying like, okay, so you decide that, now there's the consequence, leave it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of responsible that
Absolutely.
doing
You have
that.
to be a responsible adult too. So if you know that children are taking decisions which is going to be harmful to them, then you have to explain to them that this is going to harm, and kids will understand that. They will. They respect you for that as much as you respect them. They would then decide that, okay, that's not a decision that we should take. Yes, the other danger in children's participation is if you really don't understand it in that manner, adults can manipulate children.
Yes. And that's something that is very, very common.
Yes, they can manipulate children. Like if it is in an organization, then if you have some staff who are not very happy about something, they can manipulate the children to be able to get what they want to do. This happens. This happens in a number of organizations, and that's why everybody's afraid. That's why nobody, they want to put controls in. But if you, in your negotiations with children, you're able to draw that fine line between saying where the children respect you, that you as a significant adult, you as a teacher, or you as a social worker, or you as a caseworker or a counselor has a responsibility and you're performing it, the kids will respect you for that and they will follow. They will follow what you say.
Yeah, they trust you.
Yeah, they will. They would trust you and they would do it. For in our experience, it has happened that when we tell a group of kids, when they say something which is absolutely not fair for some groups of children, and we say that, is that what you really would want to do? I mean, don't you think that everybody has a right, an equal right to something? And now you are saying the children from that particular locality should not join you, they should not be participating in your program. Is that fair? How would you feel if they said that about you?
Okay, it's going
so then you have a whole discussion on that. The kids understand it and they say, yes, that's not right. We shouldn't be like that. we should be not exclusive in that sense. We should be all inclusive. So it's a constant.
Yes, and that leads me on the thing that you say in the very beginning. Working with children in participation must require a lot of patience.
Yes.
So for me, is the learning from this little chat, but for you, what is the learning? If you could say, for just to finish, in a phrase or maybe in a couple of phrases, what is your most biggest learning during this work over 30 years or more than 30 years?
No, it's going to be 30 next year. When the biggest learning for me is that children have been an inspiration, and they have taught me a number of things which I wouldn't have even thought of. For example, that even the smallest voice counts. That you need to be patient to listen. So even if the children are taking too long to say something, you should have the patience to listen to them, and that is actually giving them that respect and that dignity, and that is a great learning, because patience is something that I really learned from them. And today I'm very patient in most meetings. I can sit when I know that somebody is just, talking too much and it's not making sense. I will still be patient enough to listen, and still draw from that conversation some things which are really, really good, interesting. And from that 15 or 20 minutes of talk that adult was speaking, I can still draw something out of it with all the patience and that I think is my takeaway, is being a patient, being a good listener, and yes, children teach you that to be very positive in life. For children, if today is bad, tomorrow is beautiful. They are not people like adults, continuously complaining, and complaining and whining. Kids don't complain and whine. They're always thinking that, tomorrow will be better than today. They're very positive human beings.
Yes.
And I'd like them to they should be positive human beings. And I wish when they grow up too, they'll remain positive. And that's it. Being positive in life is one of the major learnings I've got from children.
Well, thank you, Rita. Shukriya. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much.